going to find yourself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So you're off in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. Doesn't qualify as well as he races. Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin. But I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately, isn't it? What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Oh, Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well. The understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third. Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike. Good have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Bill Jocelyn, so there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, and
It's all about the entertainment. So I hope
everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is enjoying himself watching Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Penguin RC Simulation Simcar Grand Am Championship, round 1 live from Spa. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth by Hamish Munro this evening here as well. 6.93 kilometres in length, and there's some absolutely outstanding corners on this iconic classic circuit. It's going to be absolutely amazing. We've got 2 races set up for you this evening, a 15-minute sprint race and then a 45-minute feature with a top 8 reverse. Pro-Ams also as well, and we've got 20 drivers on the grid ready to go. But let's bring Hamish in with us this evening as well, and we can have a chat about the series as these guys do drive around and do their quality. Hamish, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
James, what an exciting night of racing we have here for the fans of US GT racing, the fans of US sports car racing as well. Circuit de Spa, Francorchamps, GT3s. This is going to be absolutely epic, mate. I'm so looking forward to this. I mean, this circuit is steamed in history for GT racing and sports car racing alike, and to see some of these drivers tackle this track tonight in the best that they can in the Grand Am scheme of things for GT3s, this is going to be absolutely epic.
It definitely is there as well. Kenny Bourgeois in YouTube chat. Hope you have a coffee or a drink, JP. First time watching this league. Sure, you guys will do an awesome job as usual. It is the first time for us as well, Kenny. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I've got to thank Kenny, really. He designed my livery on my Mustang for my future V8 entry, Hamish, as well.
I saw that sign up. I'm very excited for that.
Oh, mate, it's going to be very, very interesting. I posted delivery in the Discord earlier on in the Tuesday V8s as well. So, yeah, big shout out to Kenny for that one. Okay, so we don't have a long sprint race, right? We're over 2-minute laps here. They've got 15 minutes. We're going to have probably 7 laps, give or take, at the most. How frantic is that going to be, right? Because they need to get in the top 8 if they're going to be obviously a top 8 reverse for the reverse grid. So if, you know, for the second race. So they're going to be going for it here, but they don't want to be going for it too much where they jeopardize their racing altogether.
Yeah, we might actually see a style of race where some drivers will actually try and aim to get to P8 on the road instead of going for the win, obviously, because that reverse grid, the longer race, you know, it's worth more points. You want to be able to get the better position and the better start in race 2 than you do race 1. So we will actually see some tactics from some drivers tonight. They will deliberately try and get their car into P8 or P7 to start on the front row for the second race. Yes, you're giving up some points in race 1, but it's going to benefit you in race 2. It's going to be frantic no matter what. It's always frantic. It's Spa. They're going to have to be incredibly cautious. Lap 1, lap 2, they're going to have to be careful as they're all bunched up and just trying to find a pathway around this place. You know, some big corners around here these drivers have to be careful of. La Source, Eau Rouge, Radillon, later in the track as well for Blanchimont too. So these drivers are going to have to be very careful, very calculated in how they do actually approach race 1 so they can set themselves up for race 2, because you don't want to end up being crashed out in race 1 and end up at the back of the field for race 2. You want to try and have a clean getaway, consistent run, and actually try, and that's not what you want to do at Blanchimont, spin the car around. Cody Cosgrove loses it there at Blanchimont into the wall. Yeah, that's the sort of tactics they're going to be bringing into this race is where do we want to get our car? Well, we want to be consistent. We want to get to the checkered flag first foremost. You know, 7 laps around here feels like an eternity sometimes, even in an endurance setting. So I think they're the kind of tactics we're going to see. They'll try and get around about P8, P7 on the road if they're starting below the sort of top 6.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, for Cody Cosgrove, unfortunately, I don't really want to say it, Cody, but you are in a Porsche, and the Porsche is doing Porsche things, i.e. trying to kill you when you get it all wrong. So you want to be a little bit careful.
Spa doesn't like rear-engine cars. I mean, as someone who drove the Lamborghini for a 24-hour race around here, it does not like rear-engine cars.
No, it definitely does not. And it's not going to love the Porsche as well. Interesting thing as well we've got to look out for, Blake Reynolds has returned as the Pro champion. So there is Blake. He's in the Corvette this season. Anthony Flores is the AM champion, but he's been moved up to Pro as well. He is in a Porsche. He's in the Too Fast racing team. So Anthony, who won the AMs, will be moved up to Pro. So that's always good as well. And obviously, as per normal, we've got the team Championship winners of Solpec Precision Racing. They are all here as well, represented by Ray Kingsbury. Carsten Quinn is in that team. Blake Reynolds is in that team. Cody Crosgrove is in that team as well. So they've got a very strong lineup. Now, we'll give you a rough idea on the Pro and AMs. Pros are above 2K I rating. The AMs are below 2K I rating, okay? So if you wonder why, that is why they are separated and how they are separated here as well. I think doing it that way, Hamish, is quite interesting, you know, because a lot of leagues take into consider their I rating. They don't take into consider the speed. But it does mean that some of the AMs might be actually quicker than the pros and put themselves up well within the top 10, as we can see here. Carsten Quinn at the moment sitting first in the AMs, but if we go to the overall, he's sitting fifth in the overall. Great opportunity for Carsten there to get himself right up amongst the pros.
Well, not only a great opportunity that to actually race around some faster drivers as well. When you base your classes around that, of course, that's also relying on the fact that drivers actually do race officials. Some races on iRacing get their D-class license or upwards of D up towards C, A or B, and then they just go straight and do leagues, and they don't do the officials anymore, and they don't progress with their iRating. But one thing we can notice is, I mean, Anthony Flores, last season's champion, he's a 1500 iRating who's now in pro class racing top 4 position at the moment in qualifying. His iRating is not representative of his actual ability. Same for Carsten Quinn. He's 1900. He's on the cusp of 2K. He would be pro class if he had maybe done a couple more officials before signing up this season. So that's the sort of imbalance you can get with setting up your classes that way. But it's the easiest way to set up your classes, because then you don't have to do pre-qualifying. You don't have to go through the process of seeing how these drivers are racing other series. You just slap them out there, and if they have a good season in AM, well, then they get the opportunity to go into pro anyway. So it's not too bad. But I like when a series does this. You have a pro class above 2K, or some series have above 3K for their pro class, and it means you have a proper pro class. These drivers, they are committed to doing the officials. They're committed to racing these cars week in and week out. They're committed to getting their I rating up on their sports car license. And that's what I love, and that's the reward they get out of it. You know, they get to race in a pro division instead of an amateur division.
Yeah, I do fully agree on that one as well. But to be blatantly honest with you and bring you up the calendar for this season, we've got a 8th round calendar taking place. Obviously kicking off at Spa. We head off to Zandvoort on October 17th. Red Bull Ring on October 24th. Road America on November the 7th for round 4. Round 5 will be Barber on November the 14th. Le Mans for round 6 on the 21st, and then Sandown, well, that is going to be very interesting, on December the 5th for round 7, and then the final season finale, Road Atlanta full course on December the 12th. Very interesting calendar there, I think, as well. A mix of, well, everything, to be blatantly honest with you, and I think they've got some good tracks this season.
It's this will be a real good local reference for you, James. It's a real pick and mix of tracks out there. As the Australian cohort here, Sandown's a very interesting choice. I'm excited for it. It's a circuit that don't get many passing opportunities. Probably get about 3 across the whole lap, and the drivers will have to push to try and get those opportunities. It's a cracking calendar, though. I mean, the first 3 rounds. Could you ask of any better tracks to actually start the first 3 rounds? I mean, Spa, Zandvoort, and Red Bull Ring. It's going to be fast-paced. It's going to be hard racing. It's going to be difficult for these drivers to really put themselves together across those 3 rounds. Then we get into Road America. Tough circuit. Feels like a track that is 2 circuits in one across both halves. It's almost 2 different styles across the whole circuit. Barber, that's a tough track. I mean, I maybe wouldn't have chosen Barber personally myself, but I think it can produce some fantastic racing. Le Mans, I mean, it's Le Mans. It's known around the world for sports car racing. It's always going to have some level of influence on a sports car calendar. Sandown, as I mentioned, and then the home of the Petit Le Mans, which is upcoming for the IMSA calendar, Road Atlanta, which I'm always excited for. Road Atlanta is one of those little hidden gems. In my opinion, the best US track on iRacing. It's phenomenal, and I cannot wait for us to go there.
Yeah, I think Road Atlanta is going to be absolutely amazing, so I'm looking forward to that one as well. I got to be honest, not unpopular opinion, as I found out the other day when I said this, but I'm not a fan of Le Mans, and I think Kenny could back me up here, as the other day on Sunday, he was driving a race that not only was it at Le Mans, it was in the dark, and it was absolutely torrential rain, where we lost about 20 drivers out of the grid. It was absolutely horrendous weather. And if it was a real life, Hamish, they would have red flagged it and said it was too dangerous to be.
Le Mans is one of those circuits. It's similar to IMSA style of racing, multi-class racing. It works better for endurance. Same with Bathurst as well in Australia. A lot of people out there do not particularly like sprint racing at Bathurst because it's a hard track to pass on. Le Mans, it's easy to pass on because you have the toe, but it can then lead to some boring racing where the whole field spreads out because the track is so big. It's the same thing for the Nürburgring. The Nürburgring is enriched in history, but it works best when it's an endurance setting, when it is above a 2-hour limit, 2 hours up to 24 hours, whatever it is. Same with Le Mans. It's a track that works best when it's endurance because it's who can last the longest around that place, not who can sprint forward and use their pace to win a race in a 15-minute or 45-minute sprint or feature.
Yeah, you are right there, buddy. And to be blatantly honest with you, I think that there isn't anything that I can disagree with on that one. And Le Mans is just one of them tracks, isn't it, that you either love or you don't. And, well, I'm not a lover of it. I can
appreciate it. I can appreciate it. It's not my favorite track, but...
No. I think every season and every league should finish at Interlagos. That's the best one for me. Is everybody should finish at Interlagos. I can respect it. I personally like for the league that I run. Now we either always start with Belle Isle or we end at Belle Isle because it's very chaotic, and we race there every season. So it feels like a special place to us now. We've had a question in the chat asking if we could put the car numbers on the timing tower, James. Is that possible? It is possible, yeah. Give me 2 seconds and I will get that one done here as well. Just trying to sort out we got about 90 seconds. We got about 90 seconds of qualifying left. Currently, as it stands, Michael Goncharves is P1 on the road with a 217.8 at the moment. Blake Reynolds P2 with 218.14. Then Roman Retro with a 218.17 makes up the top 3 for the amateur field. Marlon Mofta currently situates P1 with a 218.9. Carson Quint P2. We saw him have that moment at Blanchimont earlier in the... that was Cody Cosgrove. Sorry, his teammates. Both Canadians, making a mistake on my part, but he got a 218.94. P3 at the moment, Josh Stultz for driver for hire, 219.75. So track record around here, James, is 216.1. They're not quite on the professional times of the real life drivers that were set at the 2024 24 hours of Spa earlier this year. But they're nice and close, which makes me hopeful we're going to get some good battling and some good racing between this whole field. Yeah, I think that's the thing there as well. And the battling all the way through is something that we love, right? Because at the end of the day, there's nothing worse than doing a race and nobody can, move anywhere or nothing's really happening. But I think when they're going through the field like that, I think it's absolutely amazing. And we should see some great racing here, because if you have a look at the gap at the moment, it's the second down to 9th, down to 8th. And it doesn't break a second until you get down to Jason Lynn in 15th. So I think overall it's going to be very interesting to see on that one. Derby there as well. I've made the positions on the bottom for you black, so I'm hoping that makes it just a tad easier on that one, but we can bring you up the grid very, very shortly. There you go. Michael Gonzalez in first place, Blake Reynolds second, Roman Ratu in third, Cody Cosgrove in fourth, Kevin Fanning in fifth, Ray Kingsbury in sixth, Justin Nasir in seventh, Anthony Flores in eighth, Marlon Mofta leads the AMS in ninth, Carson Quint in 10th, Paul Miko in 11th. I got told to call him that because do not have a go on that last name whatsoever. Josh Stoltz is down in 12th. Brian Sun in 13th. Tim Brockhow in 14th. Jason Lynn in 15th. Dylan Hunter in 16th. Kevin Bogart down in 17th. Jeff Johnson 18th. Matt Kingsbury 19th. And Joshua Suxi in 20th. So 20 cars taken to this grid, so get ready, hold on to your hats, because it's going to be very, very interesting. We do, though, which I thought might happen here as well, Hamish, we do have a full pace lap. So
we do indeed.
Yes. So we'll have to waffle just a little bit longer.
That's fine. I did notice on that list 3 drivers unable to set a time in qualifying: Jeff Johnston, Matt Kingsbury, and Joshua Suxi as well. So those guys were unable to set a time. We don't really have a real indication of their pace until we actually get underway and see if they're able to get past the likes of Kevin Bogart or Dylan Hunter quite quickly, as they were about 3 seconds off the pace of the leader, Michael Gonzalez, or if they're around that pace as well. So we'll have to wait and see. But it worries me a little bit that they possibly either just didn't get an opportunity to get a lap in, or they didn't get the consistency across their laps to actually be able to keep it on the black stuff across the 15 minutes. So we'll get a good opportunity to check this out and how they go in this race. Of course, 15 minutes sprint. Then we get into the 45-minute feature after this as well. I mean, I'm pumped. I'm amped. You know, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It's a track that, it's got a bit of magic about it, doesn't it, James? And it just always leads to something happening, whether it's at the top of the hill at Radeon, whether it's around formerly known as No Name or Pouon, or even down at Blanchimont. There's a couple of Porsches in this field. We could see some Porsche problems happening. There's a couple of Mustangs and Corvettes. They've been known to have some problems as well, unless you can set them up correctly, of course. I mean, bog standard, the Mustang does not like corners particularly. The Corvette doesn't either. So if you can work out those little kinks in those cars, and they could be on for something special. The McLaren is a crowd favorite this season. Newest car released in iRacing. Majority of the field is set up in a McLaren at the moment. So we will see with its little iRacing buff that it would get being the brand new car. We'll see how dominant it can be early this season, or if the Corvette and the Porsche and the Mustang can bring the challenge to it.
Well, you are. The thing is as well, right? You are right about the Corvette. The Corvette, if you apply the pedal too hard, your back end's coming round regardless. It's just that way. It's like the Mercedes is the same thing. If you apply the pressure too much on the pedal, you're going round. The McLaren at the moment seem to have come out and been the most stable Gt3. It's kind of your all-rounder. It's not really good at one thing. It's confident and competent in all parts of it. So at the moment, the McLaren seems to be the favourite. Again, right on the Mustang, it's heavy, it doesn't like turning as much as well. It's got pace for days. That thing is meaty fast. But again, the handling is off a little bit on it as well. The interesting thing at the moment, I'm trying to find out why, but Kevin Bogart and Matt Kingsbury, both of them are out at the moment, so I don't know what that reasoning is. I am on a little bit of a mission to try and find out. So we're going to have 18 drivers for this sprint race here as well. Don't forget, guys, if you are here for the first time, like, subscribe, turn on the bells, and do all that other fancy jazz that you can do for free here on YouTube for the JPB YouTube channel. That'd be absolutely amazing. Don't panic about the time. We're not losing time from the sprint race. That will set back to 15 once they go over the line. Okay, so you will get 15 minutes of racing. They're not going to spend 5.5 or 6 minutes, if not more, driving round and then leave them with about 8 minutes of racing. They will get the full 15. It will reset here as well. Good mix of pro and AMs. There's a couple of AMs above a couple of the pros, so that's going to be interesting to see whether or not the pros can come through on that one. I think Hamish as well. Seeing how the likes of Quint and Mofta get on in their opening race could be an interesting.
Yeah, you know, Quint and Mofta, obviously, they're the top 2-seated drivers in the amateurs at the moment. They're situated right ahead of Josh Stoltz. He's on the road directly behind them alongside Paul Mikulowicz as well. I mean, what we'll often see at the back end of a pro field, the top end of an AM field, there'll be a lot of crossover because it's that in-between point. You know, we often say if there's a split 1, split 2, there's always a split 1.5 where you could take probably the top 5 or 10 drivers from the class below or the split below and the bottom 10 or bottom 5 drivers of the class above, and you could interchange them quite easily based on their pace. The difference that there will likely be between these pros this season at the back end of the pro field and the AMs at the top end is how consistent they are across a race and across the season. We may see the likes of Quint, Mofta, Stultz make more mistakes across the season than we would from Mikulauchik, Schoen, or Brokow as well. Oh, we're nearly at race start. We're nearly at green flag. I got goosebumps already because we could either see lap 1 chaos, lap 1 carnage, destruction of all levels, or we could see everyone settle in and get ready for a great race.
Yeah, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Round 1 in the sprint. It's coming down the start-finish line now. It is green, green, green. Michael Gonzalez got out in front. Blake Reynolds sitting in second. Ratu in third. Crossgrove in fourth. They're already trying to go 3 and 4 wide. That is never going to work. Through La Source, you've got to be careful, but it is Gonsalves out in front, leading the way for the first time as they come through El Rouge, the base of the hill, before they start going up to the right-hander of Radion. There you go. Now it's onto the Camel. Now it's that opening run, and at the moment, Gonsalves, he's escaped like an absolute scolded dog and has ran away from the field. There's 3 or 4 wide in the further back here. Great mix of cars, so you see them spread across the racetrack. Gonsalves taking the whole shot, Hamish. He did what he had to do right at the start.
He did. He really just advantages. Nasir's had a moment up at the end of the Camel straight off the track, dropping Eber spots. He's got all the work to do now across the next 15 minutes. I saw on that opening lap, La Source, I believe it was Cody Cosgrove, trying to go for a sneaky inside line at turn 1. Didn't quite get there, got cut off by the Corvette in front of him. But he has managed to just slot in behind now and get into a rhythm. So the top few have started to rock away like the Roadrunner here. Michael Gonzalez and Blake Reynolds. They are separated by 0.3 of a second at the moment. Roman Rateau not too far behind them, as well as Cody Cosgrove, Anthony Flores making up the top 5. But that's a big moment for the McLaren there of Justin Nasir, all the way back now in P16 on the road and a P10 for the pro class as well. So unfortunate for him. We'll see him try and make a comeback in this race. If he gets up towards the back into the top 10, he should have a good opportunity for race 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian Sun has also had an incident. We'll have a look back at that one. We saw Justin Nasir's live there, but Reynolds is now pressurizing Gonsalves. How is he going to be able to do it? Is it going to be the McLaren? Is it going to be the Corvette? Time's going to tell. Go through the left-hander now, a Blanchimont on the way down into that bus stop situation here. It's going to be hard on the brakes. What way is the McLaren going to go? It's not going to go anyway. Reynolds just cannot get close enough on that run down through Blanchimont, through the bus stop, on the run down into La Source. We've got a McLaren, we've got a Corvette, and then we've got 3 Porsches tucked in behind. We know the Porsche struggles on the straightaway. He's got the turn in. He hasn't quite got the pace. Can it get near it, though, with the draft he's got here? And by the looks of it, as I've seen in other GT3s at the Spa this season as well, since a new one, you've got to be well within 2.5 tenths to even make the draft work.
Well, does Blake Reynolds have enough freedom, injected power in the engine of that Corvette to get it past Gonzalez in the McLaren down the Camel straight? He's going to have the toe. Can he line up a move down at the next corner for the right-hander? Heavy braking zone down here. Needs to be cautious and careful. Needs to be calculated in how he approaches this move. He's not quite close enough on this lap, it seems. Rateau has to give in and just wait for his opportunity in that Porsche you mentioned. It's not as quick down the straight, but boy, is it a rocket ship in the corners. But they need to be careful. We saw it in qualifying. The Porsche can do Porsche things, and that's what they'll be worried about in this race is just, oh, do I turn in slightly too much? Do I clip a curb? Is it going to go round on me? Oh, it's edge of your seat stuff as Reynolds is parked right underneath the rear wing of Gonzalez at the moment. He's gone camping on that rear wing right now, James. I mean, he is not getting anywhere, and you can just see the pressure is mounting to absolute maximum levels right now. The pressure gauge on Gonzalez, I'm surprised the glass is not cracking. It's that high because Reynolds is all over him like a bad smell.
Yeah, here we go into Lepagny now, through the left-hander, through the right-hander, coming down into Campus. The first part here as well. You can see Reynolds there as well. He's sniffing the fumes of Gonçalves. He's literally right behind him here, breathing in everything that's coming out of that exhaust of that McLaren. It's just a shame that the flames have gone here, because I can tell you one thing, Reynolds is going to need a new nose after that one as well, with the burning flames coming out the back of the McLaren. Through Blanchimont they go. It's still going to be Gonçalves. It's still going to be Reynolds there, and they're still coming into the bus stop as they are at the moment. The AMs are fighting out. Mofta and Quint, we'll have a look back at that one in a very short minute of time, but it's going to be coming over the line again. 10 minutes to go, lap 3 here. They're only going to get about 4, maybe 5 laps. I think they're going to be actually get 4. I think we're going to have a 7-lap sprint race into La Source once more. These front two are just not leaving each other alone, but Reynolds has got to close that gap. Anything outside 2.5 tenths, even just inside 2.5 tenths, he just does not have the pace, and that McLaren manages to hold on down through the Kemmel.
The problem now for Retro is he's starting to get left behind. These guys are rubber banding themselves forward. He's not in that tow. He's not getting dragged forward with them. And eventually he will get left in the dust between them. Just want to quickly talk about Justin Nasir. We saw him have that moment lap 1. He's already made his way back up to P12 on the road. So he's only 2 spots away from the top 10. Currently situated provisional pole position in the next race. Carsten Quinn, who currently sits P2 for the amateurs. He has a tough decision to make. Does he attack Mofta, try and take the glory, try and take the win in the AMs, or does he try and hold off to have the pole for race 2?
Oh, I thought Reynolds was going to do it then on the way down into Rivage. He's not going to get it done. Into No Name they go. Watch the side there. You don't want to be too wide. Now he's going to go through it. Is he going to get a run out of Pouan? There is a little bit of overlap there as well. Reynolds is going to go up the inside through Pouan. How can he hold it? No, the McLaren just says, nope. I'm going right round the outside, son, and you're not getting through. That is the stability of the McLaren there, because I can guarantee if that was a Porsche on that outside line, that rear end would have come round for days.
There's some Porsche hating happening here from you, James. But
the car's unstable, mate. It's so unpredictable. It's like trying to do the lottery. You just never know whether or not you're going to get 6 numbers, whether you're going to get 1 number, or you might as well rip the ticket up and throw it in the bin. That is how unpredictable the Porsche is.
So I just noticed as well, when the Corvette of Reynolds tried to take that inside line, it was very unstable on that inside line. It had a big wiggle. That cost him the run on the inside line at the double left there on Gonçalves. The McLaren is situated. It is perched to take a corner. This thing is so smooth. It is not getting unsettled at all. That's the problem with the Corvette at the moment. He cannot get him into corners because he is not stable on an inside line off the proper racing line. So that's going to be the struggle for Reynolds. That might cost him a win in this race, but it may even cost him in the next race as well, trying to actually get through the field. He may get caught up and just stuck in P7 on the road, where he will start the next race if he finishes P2. Oh, it's going to be a struggle for him, but there's also going to be 3 Porsches ahead of him on the road as well. And if they do Porsche things ahead of him, he's going to have to take evasive action to try and avoid them on track.
Yeah, he is. He's got it down to 2 tenths. Let's just see how powerful this draft is. Down this Kemmel Straight, down to 1.9 at the moment. Is it going to drop any faster? It's not coming down as if it was an open wheeler, or if it was a Radical, or if it was something other than a GT3. It's almost like they've got to be within 1.5 tenths to even remotely make that draft last on this two. These two are just non-stop. Other cars battling throughout the field. It looks like Fanning's just had a bit of a... Yeah, Kevin Fanning's just had a moment here as well. We'll have a quick look at what he got done. This is coming down into Lacombe here, and did he make it through for Fanning? Oh, he was already gone actually. That's in front of us there as well for Kevin Fanning in the Corvette. Did he just take too much speed? Yes, you are not stopping that. Oh
yeah, he was trying to get the move done on Flores there. He wasn't quite close enough to get it up the inside, but Nasir as well, just to mention, is up and back into the top 10. So he's managed to get from P16 to P10 in the matter of a couple of... So his nose cut off.
Yeah, there was no room left at the end there. That was Mile and Mofta, and there was just no room. You didn't give him a penny there, son, on that one. No, it wasn't. Was it Flores in front of him? I think it was Flores. Flores gave him no room and just came straight across his nose on that one. Warned about it in the briefing as well beforehand. Had to give a car's width either side. Didn't quite get that done for Flores. So, yeah, you might have a little bit of an inquiry coming here, son, because you literally chopped his nose off faster than a plastic surgeon did on King Kardashian on that one.
Just this bog standard Lacombe rhinoplasty on offer for us here for Kevin Fanning. Oh my God. As well, what this has done is it's now moved Mofta and Quint up to P6 and 7 on the road. Paul Mikolajczyk currently situates P8. He is the provisional pole position for race 2, but he has got Justin Nasir just lurking in behind him. His teammate is chasing him down to no ends right now. We'll see if there's some team orders at play or if Nasir is just going to be willing to give Mikolajczyk the pole position for the next race.
Come on. We can't have team orders in round 1. I get it if we're round 8 and we're a championship. You can't know. If they do that on round 1, that is it. I'm going to go
McLaren Papaya rules, surely. Just let them race.
Yeah, let them race. But then again, after the time, I don't even think McLaren know what the rules are. They've changed them that often. So I'm well confused with what they're doing, to be blatantly honest, in Formula 1 at the same time. Marlon Mofta, however, has got Carson Quinn, the situation here as well. But the problem is both of these are in the McLaren. Both of these are roughly doing the same amount of pace as well. It's around about the 219s, 219.39s, 219.38. So there's no difference between Carlson and Mofta here.
I'm gonna correct you there, James. It's actually the reverse of what we have for the battle for the lead. It's a Corvette and a McLaren, but the McLaren is situated behind the Corvette at the moment in the battle for the AM lead. Where the flip side of that, the lead for this race is on between Reynolds and Gonçalves, trying to get the inside line. Cannot quite get there, though. This is such a tough part of the track to get a move done. You really have to try and maximize your exits. And that's what's imperative in sports car racing. Maximizing exits on corners, getting your runs down the straights. And I think Gonçalves they're either been on par with each other on corner exit, or he's just been getting that little bit better across the race. But Reynolds is right on his tail right now. We may see him pop out for a move through Blanchimont, or he may be patient and wait for the final chicane. If he gets an opportunity in the braking zone, he's going to be patient. He's going to tuck up right behind. Does he dart out and try and get the move done? Reynolds covers the inside line in towards the bus stop chicane. Side by side, Reynolds continues to try and attack on Gonçalves, but he cannot quite get the move done this time by 3.5 minutes to go, James. You'd have to assume at least 2 laps of racing.
Yeah, you can see Reynolds got a lot better run out the bus stop there than what Gonçalves did. He's now tightened him up again. Reynolds is free to come and take his line. I wouldn't recommend going too wide. Don't crash on the straight either, because that will just be, well, embarrassing for both of you, to be blatantly honest. They're going up through El Rouge, now into Rally on the right-hander. Up over the hill they go. This is it. He's down within a 10th. Surely there's got to be some draft coming out now. Surely this is it. Defend the inside. You cannot leave the door open there, dear sir. If you're going to pick away, he's still not closing in on him. Still not. But we've got to look as well. Is this open setup? Are we now seeing a difference in what wing the Corvette's got to run to get around here compared to what wing the McLaren's got to run to get around here? He was making no difference. He was in a 10th area and he didn't get there at all. Surely we've got to be looking at what the setup's doing now.
So what that would probably come down to is Reynolds trying to set up the Corvette so it is not unstable through corners. We mentioned it earlier. It's a tough car to set up to be nice and stable through corners. What you give up on that is you have to run higher wing. The McLaren is able to run the lower wing at the moment, but it's side by side down towards the right-hander under brakes. You would assume that Gonçalves is going to be able to hold position here, but round the outside comes Reynolds, inside line of the next corner, gets the job done at the old right-left, gets it all through, but now we have to watch. Gonçalves has the low wing on that McLaren. He will have the pace to put a move on Reynolds. Does he send it at the final chicane with only 1 lap to go? Or is he going to have to give up and just give Reynolds a bit of a reprieve after fighting tooth and nail across the last 6 laps?
No, be smart here as well. He will either not try and get him going into the bus stop. He'll try and get him going down through El Rouge and Radion for the final time. Takes a massive off track there. Gonçalves tries to go around the outside now. Is he going to get it done? You can see the car's whip left. Leave it. Leave it, take your line and get him going out of La Source. That's what you've got to do. Don't pressurize him going in. You're obviously carrying more speed than the Corvette in front. Stay right in behind him. Get as close as you can going through La Source. Don't obviously punt him up the rear end to push him through, but get your run out. Now this is it. It's got to be coming down below 3 temps. It's got to be at least 2 to 2.5, maybe even 1.5 on the top of the hill now as well. Through the left-hander, through El Rouge, sweeping right through Radion. Over the curb we go. He's 1.5 temps. This is it for Gonçalves now. He's got to use the grunt and the McLaren. He pulls out. There's the difference. There is the difference right in front of you. Reynolds has got nothing in response coming out of that Corvette. Going into Lacombe. Is the McLaren going to make it through? He's got to go. He's got to be brave. Pick them up, son. Stick them in your pocket because you got to get through. Now through Malmedy they go. They're still side by side. It's sweep round the outside. Michael Gonçalves, take your bow, son. That was a move and a half coming out of Malmedy.
An unbelievable move across the second sector there. And that just shows the difference, how a lower rear wing can give you the best advantage at a track like this, the Kemmel Straight. One of the best overtaking opportunities. Reynolds did everything he could to defend against Gonçalves, but he didn't have the speed out of corners because of the more rear wing that he has on that car. It's better mid-corner, but he's struggling on corner exit. He hasn't got an opportunity to do what he did last lap around here. He might have to just give this up unless he's willing to lick the stamp and send it at the final chicane. But then he's going to risk his own race and Gonçalves. I mean, if you're in this position, James, you know it's tough for you to get a move done. You're running a higher wing set. Do you just have to give in at this point and give him the win?
Oh, to be honest, dude, no racing driver I know is ever going to roll over and get their belly tickled, right? He's going to want to go for this now. The question is what can Reynolds do? Where is Gonçalves going to put the car? Is he going to put it on the inside? The obvious choice. Blatantly the obvious choice. He's going to look for the run coming out of the bus stop. Reynolds has got nothing. He's covered him off. Reynolds is pushing him along. He's pushing him along. Gonçalves is going to take the win in first race of the season. What an absolute barnstormer. We got Carsten Quint leading a traffic jam of cars here. He's going to finish 6th overall, and there as well.
He's run out of fuel.
I don't know if he's run out of fuel. He must have done.
Either that or he had a slowdown.
He's got nothing.
It's out of fuel. He's run a low fuel set and it's run out.
Oh, Carsten.
That's the risk you take. That's the risk you take. And you know, I guarantee you as well, James, he put enough in, not thinking it'd be a full lap under the safety car for the warm-up lap. He would have thought it would have been a half lap starting on Blanchimont.
Oh, bro. And do you know what worse is for Quint as well? He's taking himself off the front row for race number 2.
He has indeed. That now puts Marwan Mofta, who ended up taking the win off the back of that for the amateurs. He now starts pole position the next race. Nasir and Mikolajczyk will start P7, or they finished P7 and P6. They'll start P2 and P3. So they didn't actually need to race each other for that pole position. They eventually actually made it past P2 in the AMs anyway, James. But oh, what a wild end to that race. Your heart has to break there. I mean, running out of fuel right on the line in the McLaren. It's got a bit of Lando Norris about it. You know, it's broken. It's broken. It's just like, oh.
I was wondering how long it was going to take you to get that one in there. Yeah. But here are the results from Heat 1, number 1. Michael Gonçalves is in first place. Brake Reynolds in second. And Roman Ratu rounds out the podium for the pros. Then Cody Cosgrove in fourth. Anthony Flores in fifth. Paul Mikolajczyk. Oh, got that one right.
Got it right.
In sixth. I know. Shock horror. Justin Nasir in seventh. Marwan Mofta is taking the AM win. Josh Stokes in ninth. Then Tim Brockout in 10th. Carsten Quint down in 11th. Running out of fuel, dude. Rule 101, give yourself at least a lap. Jeff Johnston in 12th. There we go. Ray Kingsbury, Kevin Fannin, Jason Lynn, Dylan Hunter, Joshua Sixey, Kevin Bogart down in 18th there. So Kevin did start but ended up down in 18th. Brian Son in 19th, and Matt Kinsbury, who did not take to the start there as well. If that was race number 1, then what do we think this next 45 minutes is going to give us?
It's going to give us Reynolds and who was he battling with? I'm trying to remember now. Gonzalez, yeah. So Reynolds and Gonzalez, them not only battling for position, but them also trying to make their way through the top 8. The benefit now is for the likes of Mikolajczyk and Nasir is obviously they're starting up towards the front of the field. They'll now have a benefit. They'll now have an advantage over those pros starting behind them. But Nasir needs to be careful on those cold tyres because he didn't have a good time through Le Com on lap 1. Hopefully it is not a repeat situation for him on lap 1 of race 2 because you'd hate to see it happen again. But he did make his way up to P7 on the road or P6 on the road in the span of 7 laps. So he has got pace, but 45 minutes, everyone's going to spread out.
He's just in a Porsche, mate. That's all. That's the problem on that one. It's just in a Porsche. Mr. Kenny Bourgeois seems JP loving on the McLaren lately. Sounds like a livery to be made. Oh, I don't own the car, Ken, so don't do that yet, mate. On that one as well. And Mikey in YouTube chat, let's go Romain. He says there as well. We finished in 3rd in the pros for race number 1. 45 minutes now. We've got a 10-minute warm-up. We've got 7 minutes left on the clock here as well. I think a lot of people are just going to be, well, for me personally, I don't really do a lot during the warm-up. Hamish, what about you?
Yeah, normally it's an opportunity to go get a drink, go, use the facilities. If it was a standing start race, I might use the warm-up to just do some practice starts. But being a rolling start, there's no point going out there and practicing that. Unless you're trying to just make sure that your second race setup feels good. That's one thing some drivers have to remember as well. I mean, Carsten Quint, he's going to have to remember now to put his race 2 setup on, not keep his race 1 setup. Otherwise, he's going to have a pit stop in this race. So he does not want to have that other setup with the less fuel in it. So they often say, remember to take off your qualifying set, then remember to put on their race 2 set if they haven't got a separate one. That's another thing we may not realize, actually. Reynolds may have been running the 1 set. He may have just had a higher fuel load and was slightly slower than what Gonzalez was. He might have been running a race 1 set. So these are the little intricacies that we'll probably learn more about across the season of how drivers approach certain tracks and how they actually do set up their car. If they do run separate setups for both races as well as qualifying. But I mean, what a race it was. Great battling up the front end. Great battling for the amateurs as well. 45 minutes more of this. I'm super, super excited. A great way to start my day, James. I mean, for those who may not have realized, the sun is still out where I am in the world. In fact, it's on a Friday, so I live in the future.
Nice. Give me the lottery numbers, mate.
I think I saw a 98 in there at some point, but
oh, okay, I'll have a look. I'll see if that's on my list on that one, mate, as well. But yeah, no, it's late. Where are we? Going into Friday just for me at nearly 3 a.m. while your lovely East and West Coast of Americans are still on Thursday. So weird, this wonderful time zone scenario here as well. But yeah, now they're going to be gearing up for their race number 2. Now, I have reached out to Carsten to see if that was fuel. I haven't got any response as of yet. So
I don't think we're going to get one, to be honest with you. That he might be a little bit ashamed of himself for not calculating correctly, possibly.
Maybe. It looks like we have advanced the session as well. I asked Kevin Bogart what happened. I can't repeat it, but let's just say it didn't go well at the beginning. So, yeah, for poor old Kevin Bogart there. Highly critical of himself. But let's bring you up the grid for race number 2. Marwan Mofta in first, Justin Nasir in second, Paul Mikolajczyk in third, Anthony Flores in fourth, Cody Cosgrove in fifth, Roman Ratu sixth, Blake Reynolds in seventh, ahead now of Michael Gonzalez in eighth, Josh Stokes in ninth, Tim Brockow in 10th, Carsten Quint down in 11th, Jeff Johnson down in 12th place. Moving on, we've got Ray Kingsbury 13th, Kevin Fanning 14th, Jason Lynn 15th, Dylan Hunter 16th, Joshua Suxey 17th, Kevin Bogart 18th, Brian Son in 19th, and I don't believe Matt Kingsbury is going to take to the start. He is down in 20th. Another pace lap here. Have they got this right with fuel this time? For the likes of Carsten Quint, it's kind of imperative he does, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd have to hope that he maybe realised his mistake that he made in race 1 and then made the adjustments for race 2. What might happen is throughout this season, I may just cut a couple laps prior to the race on Friday for me, Thursday for everyone else. Just see what litres per lap they might be burning. Because then we can kind of come up with, well, what strategies might they be running? How much fuel do they need in the car? What is best going to make up their strategy for this race? How can they best set themselves up? They're not going to need pit stops because a regular stint of GT car is an hour. So they're never going to need pit stops in this format anyway. So then you make the decision, well, do we run the lower fuel? You then risk, well, have I got enough fuel in the car? So there's a lot of pre-planning that'll have to be in place, getting that litres per lap, figuring out what your average lap time is so you know how many laps you're actually going to get out of the timed race. Because that's one of the more difficult things. When it's a timed race, you need the average because you never know how many laps exactly there's going to be. As Anthony Flores is in the pit lane and appears to be starting from the pits.
Yeah, I couldn't work out why. He just jumped straight back to the pits after they started gridding. So maybe he forgot to, could be the interesting thing now, Hamish, as well. He might have forgotten to change the setup. So, let's be real about it. We've all done it when you've gone onto the grid and gone, oh man, I've got my quali set up. Lucky for me, I'm just used to turning left on an oval, so I don't have to worry too much. However, I'm going to embark into the world of turning right and left at the same time.
I look forward to you tackling the hardest car on the iRacing service next season. I get to call the action for that as well, which is even better.
Oh, God, be nice.
So fun. It's going to be so fun. If you guys want to see JP drive the hardest car, in my opinion, on the iRacing service, then surely we got to put a link out there somewhere, JP, just so they can come and watch and see how a commentator does it behind the wheel of an Australian V8 supercar, because it is literally, it is the hardest car to drive. Like, it is an absolute boat. You picked the right season to do it because next season Gen 3 is supposed to come out, so you're going to get at least one season of Gen 2, and we'll see next season if Gen 3 is better. But what I'm also really excited about, and I don't mind that we didn't get Gen 3 this season because it did mean we got the upgrade of the McLaren. You mentioned the lack of flamethrower. I was hoping iRacing would just put the fire-breathing dragon on the back of it just to keep the meme alive, because it was one of the best things about the old McLaren, just the fire breath out the back. It does do it when it's low gear and you're just revving it out. It doesn't do it obviously for every gear change, but I wish they'd left it on there. That would have been so cool. Just see it spitting flames out the back. It might not be realistic for how the FAF McLaren actually runs, but everyone can agree a flamethrower is really cool.
It is, to be blatantly honest. You can just imagine in the garage baking your marshmallows out the back of the exhaust. You know what I mean? That would just be absolutely insane. But they have, unfortunately, as we said, it does appear very few and far between.
Maybe
so,
if we make enough noise in future, they can just patch it in.
Yeah, just put it in. Just put flames out the back. That would do. We need Justin to see his flames.
Yeah.
Now the interesting thing, we've got Marwan Mofta on pole, the AM driver. Now he's got 7 cars between him and Josh Stokes. It's that question of, does Marwan turn around and allow the faster cars go through, at the same time bringing Josh, who he had a great battle with in the first race, into play with him? Or does he try and fight there and risk his own race on that one? Just really quickly, what do you think as they go through Blanchiment?
I don't think he should do it. I don't think he should let them through lap 1. I think he should let the race get into its rhythm, let it get up to pace, and then just as they start to attack him, just let them go through. Don't defend so hard. Do the blue flag mindset of they can pass him down the inside of the next corner. Not make it too difficult for them, but not give up too much time to your competitors in behind, because they might have an incident lap 1, and then all of a sudden you don't have to sit in P1 on the road because they're dropping back. So that's what I think he needs to do, is just hold off lap 1, get ready to go for it on lap 2.
Well, here we go. Mofta's going to hold the field up here. Is he going to punch them up? Ladies and gentlemen, race 2 here as well for the Penguin RC Simulation. Simcar Grand Am Gt3s is green. Nasir trying to go round the outside at the moment in time in the McLaren for Justin Nasir. Mara Mofta going to be keeping that inside vet there, running too wide. How is this one going to work out? I am holding on.
He's got a massive split as well. That's a question. They're all going to stream by him now, including Stultz. So he has to give up that slowdown. That's a big slowdown as well, at least a couple of seconds. Oh, you can see him. They are just absolutely all over the road down towards Lacombe, side by side for Cosgrove. Up ahead of him, he's got Mofta and Gonzalez. He's still trying to give up that slowdown. He's lucky to have only given
he's been hit.
Once and he's gone. Massive moment.
And that was all because he refused to stop. He tried to get that slowdown off. Going in through Lacombe, he tried to basically drag it out as long as possible. And now, that's it. He's just cost him his whole race. Instead of just lifting off the driver line down Kemmel and losing a few places to try and get it off, he's now lost all of them. Marwan Mofta down 17. Done there as well. He's now got to try and fight his way back through the field. Going to be very, very difficult indeed. And that, Hamish, is how not to get rid of a slowdown in a high race in there for Mofta.
At this point in the race, control the controllable. It's better for you to survive lap 1 by moving over.
He's off in the back.
Line. Lynn, that's off. Lynn is off in the background. He spun round, and that back of that car is absolutely wrecked. He's lucky to have pulled it off the road. He's not going to make this thing back to the pits, though.
No, we've got Bogart's also had a moment in behind him as well. Oh, that's a Porsche.
Classic
dearie
Porsche.
me.
Classic
That's
Porsche.
a classic. Yep, I think Jason Linz, however, was a bit more come across the nose of a Mustang. Mustang's got the overlap.
And the rear left-hand side of that car, you would have noticed then, it kind of just perched down onto the ground. The rear is actually collapsed, it seems, on the back of that McLaren. And that thing it's not happy. And it would just be...
It's not happy.
It would be better for him and for the rest of the field if he just requests the tow, because this is dangerous now, him trying to drive back like this. Look at it, the wheel is disconnected on the left-hand side. No, it's not there.
No, it's broke. It's well broke. He's got to try and get it back to the pit lane before anybody else comes through here for Jason Lynn, I think. Now, let's keep you up and give you a quick shout on the winner of race 1. He has moved himself up 6 places into second. However, Blake Reynolds has not managed to do that. He has actually lost a position there for Blake and is down in 8th place. So Gonzalo has obviously got a lot better run out there than Blake did in front of him, and Blake is just unfortunately stuck on that one. Jeff Johnson having a nice battle with Carson Quint, who's trying to come for you, hopefully with enough fuel in that McLaren. We do not want to see you spluttering again on that one, sir. Now the thing is as well, they've got the option of 100% fuel, right? We know that. We've seen it. That's what it is. It's the 100% fuel, but the 100% fuel will get you well above 55 minutes, right? You're going to be on touching probably nearly an hour mark here. So they've got to do their own calculations. And for the likes of certain people, Carsten, you may not got it right for this one. So could we see more than one person running out of fuel?
It's often a joke to talk about the American education system. The Canadian education system has let him down on that one, unfortunately. The arithmetic not quite there, but maybe he didn't also realize it was going to be a full lap warm-up lap behind the safety car, because previously on the old build with Spa, it was from Blanchimont down to the line. That was the warm-up sequence. So this new build obviously is a full lap. That means, he probably did have enough for 16 laps or maybe 15 and a half, 15 minutes or 15 and a half minutes worth, 7.5 laps maybe, or 6.5 laps, because he ran it on the line as Reynolds up the inside, gets the job done, holds position now, P7 on the road to Stultz. I think what's struggling with Reynolds right now, what paid off for him in the first race was he was right in the toe of Charles. He was never left behind pretty much. He was able to sit with him the whole race. He was probably also held up by that lap 1 incident up at the top of the hill as well after Lecombe. That's probably cost him a little bit now. He needs to get into that rhythm, needs to try and work with some of his teammates. He's got Cosgrove up ahead of him, his teammates. He will try and work with him. They'll move up the rankings together, but they've got to try and get past the Frenchman of Rateau, Mikolajczyk as well. And just on Mikolajczyk's name, was it just you naturally saying the name, James, that made you say it correctly this time, not thinking about it too much?
No, I listened to you for about 15 minutes to make sure I could actually say it right when it comes to the results, mate. I'm sorry, that was it. There wasn't any specific reason why. You know what I mean? I'm English, dude.
Yeah.
We don't get names right for love nor money. I was Kenny in YouTube chat.
Wait,
it took me a while to get his name right.
Is that Lynn still rolling around on track? He hasn't gone into pit lane on the Kemmel Straight?
He has gone in pit lane.
That's gone in pit lane, so he's given up the blue flags. Okay. I was worried for a second there. I'm like, why have you not come in? Your car was broken.
Flores into Ravage. Oh, is that Porsche going to hug? It is. Flores is going to get that job done there as well. Over that Corvette of Brian's son. And Anthony Flores moves himself well. He's recovering from starting in the pit lane there. So he is still down 10 officially on the road as he started from the pits. Josh Stoltz is under a little bit of pressure from Kevin Fannin, who's just about to go and almost dive up the inside. One of the interesting things that come out of the driver briefing now, most people, most leagues within rules, the overlap, front to back, right? So front wheel overlapping back wheel. Here, as I got told by Ray in the driver briefing, it doesn't matter how much overlap you've got. If there's overlap, you should be entitled to the space. Now that opens up 50,000 questions about what is the overlap. And he said, I don't care if the overlap's as much as a thin piece of paper, it's still an overlap. That's going to give these guys a lot to think about.
Yeah, they're going to have to. That's kind of the mindset then of when racing in officials. Obviously, you have no live race control, which means any overlap is overlap. You can't just turn across your competitor because you could end up ruining your race and falling backwards. So I guess it gives us more racing room, which should lead to more battles between drivers, more passing opportunities as well. They don't have to rely on getting right up on the rear of the car alongside the rear wheel. So yeah, it's an interesting mindset. Some series run B-pillar, some series run, as I said, in line with the rear axle. That also then creates some confusion for RC because someone could have overlap, get turned across, but they're not far enough up. So then they're not entitled to the overlap, which that kind of annoys me a little bit because they're alongside the other car. They've been turned across and they've lost their front of their nose. As Stoltz is blinking in and out of existence like an eyelid at the moment, just finding the shadow realm. And then if you're fanning, you're thinking, oh no, please do not disappear right in front of me and then reappear inside my car. I would like to make the checkered flag, please. So he may just have to take it a little bit easy for right now because he doesn't want to end up taking out not only Stoltz, but also himself.
Yeah, Mofta's trying to recover. He's 15 places here down on where he was. And I can't feel sympathetic about that situation with Mofta. Big Mustang.
Susie or Hunter?
No, Hunter, yeah. Mustang incident at the back there. We'll have a look back at that as well. But Mofta himself, that slowdown, dude, off the line, slow it down, let everybody through. You still would have been going on. Your brakes going into Lecombe as well, which did not help there because he's trying to get that off, isn't he? He's got to brake to slow the car down. Didn't get it off. Bang, straight up the rear end. And unfortunately for Mofta, that's kind of on you on that one, buddy. I'm afraid as well. You just might have to suck it up. I've got a funny feeling here there's going to be a curb. No, he didn't. The Mustang's back end just went round, didn't it?
Classic Mustang right there. pulling the vintage move of rear end just says hello. If we're at this point in the race...
Oh, he said it, he said it, he said it.
Oh, my God.
Carsten Quinn. Deary me, it wasn't delivered by...
Anywhere else, any other league in the world, you are getting turned into that corner at that point from that kind of send. Very lucky for Carsten Quinn, but great wherewithal from Johnson and Stultz not to turn across him or turn into him there. Oh my God, these Americans and Canadians, they are audacious in their moves at the moment.
Oh, Ratu! Oh, Ratu's round.
It is Ratu.
Get over, you're sat in the middle. Get it over if you're broke there, bud. Oh, he is broke. Left hand down for Roman Ratu. Now, was there contact coming from Kingsbury behind? That's going to be the question.
Yep.
Oh, there was.
Yep.
Bang.
Oh, he's
To be
absolutely
fair,
set him to the cleaners.
Yeah, he got off lightly though because he still got all of the car.
Yeah.
Now we say that because of the fact that you looked at the Corvette we watched earlier. That just lost everything on the back end, right? He was like wide open. You literally see up his skirt and everything. But Ratu's actually probably got off a little bit lighter. Now the question is, he's obviously got to come in, right? You can see the Mustang in front has actually got damage on the front left as well. Natir has got Consalves right up behind him, but we've got a Penguin RC 1, 2, and 3 here. But he's got Solpec in behind of, well, 4, 5, and 6. So it's kind of a Solpec Penguin top 6 at the moment. So it'd be interesting to see how these guys sort these out as well. We said about team orders, didn't want team orders in round 1, but what's the Solpec boys going to do? Because we know Reynolds has got a little bit more pace over Kingsbury. Kingsbury's in a Porsche that just wants to kill him lap after lap after lap. And then we've got Cody, who's also in a Porsche. But it's going to be Reynolds and Kingsbury here. What do you do if you're the Solpec boys? Well,
send it up the inside of the chicane, it seems, for Reynolds.
Yes.
They are just actually battling it out. I mean, you look at that top 3 Penguin RC simulation. It's a real wouldn't you know who won the pony scenario right now. Penguin RC sponsoring the series, of course, and their drivers are in the top 3 right now. So they are just dominating this race. And Desir and Gonçalves, they seem to be the ones who could be battling it out for this championship this season, because Reynolds is nowhere to be seen in comparison to them. He's going to be out of tow if he gets past Mikolajczyk. And with that higher wing setting, he's not going to have the pace down the straight. Look at that. He is running about 3 or 4 kilometers per hour, or miles per hour, I should say, slower through Radion than what Gonçalves was when we were watching his speeds last race.
You can see 159, Mikolajczyk coming into the braking zone now. He's got that wrong, mind you, because that is going to bring Reynolds right up behind you. You took that too much there, sir. Now it's down to your opportunity of what you're going to do here with Reynolds. Are you going to defend him off? You've moved once. He's going to be coming up the inside, Reynolds, now as well. Over the Penguin RC and Mikolajczyk and the McLaren. It's going to be side by side. Through No Name they go. The McLaren's not giving it up. Reynolds is going to sweep around the outside. And that was stemmed from a Mikolajczyk mistake going into Lacoon.
I have to wonder if Reynolds has actually made some setup adjustments during that warm-up session as well. If he is running a different setup now with more fuel, has he possibly just adjusted this car, or is it maybe just running a little bit better with the higher fuel load in it than compared to the lower fuel load of race 1?
Mate, to be honest with you, I can't answer it, can we? We don't know.
Well, as someone who
can I
drove the Corvette at the 6 hours of the Glen, I can tell you the car does feel better early stint when it has got a bit more fuel in the car. The lower the fuel gets, unless you have set up around the rear of the car being a bit loose through corners or being a bit understeery as well sometimes, you got to really work it out. It's a tough car to set up. So is the Mustang, and they go kind of hand in hand with each other since they came out in the same season. They're almost polar opposites in how you set them up. The Mustang doesn't like the rear end.
He hit him! He hit him! Oh my God, we've just seen punt to power. He's hit it back. Why not?
As well.
Oh no, look at the state of that car now. Jeff Johnson in that McLaren. Bumpers off. There you go, an expensive part. Find it on eBay in the morning. Just Google McLaren rear ends and there will be the bumper there as well. I don't even know what that was. He come in far too hot and just bang. That was it.
He might. I think Jeff Johnson quite possibly has just had his Canadian citizenship revoked, because that was not very nice of him at all. He's just absolutely sent it into the rear end of that other McLaren. I mean, what was
Did he miss his break down?
He's missed it. You've got to brake at that white line if you're the leading car. Like, not even if you're the following car. If you're the leading car, you're braking there. So unless you're on the inside, he's braked probably about 10 meters too late, like, and just drilled him.
Yeah, literally, absolutely nailed him.
No other way to describe it. Oh, he's got that as well.
Oh, what's that? The problem was, it's not easy because Stoltz is disappearing it. Yeah, but was it on his own? No. Flores has helped that. And Flores has helped that one as well.
He was still carrying damage from that previous contact with Johnson.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, just a little kiss there as well that turned him round.
Flores, 2 races in a row.
I mean, we're at the point now where we're actually at the point now, which was the end of race 1. We're 15 minutes into this race, and they're starting to go off here. Begs the question, can they survive 45 minutes, James? Because they survived 15 as Nasir and Ganshaz, but teammate action happening through Blanchimont, forced out wide. Had to take the
give it back.
Yeah, he has to give it back. He's had an illegal overtake there on his own teammate.
Should have been a slowdown as well to a degree. So I'm wondering whether or not that's going to actually kick in. And Gonzalez is going to actually just give that over, which any nice teammate would do, because you did kind of overtake him off the circuit as we're in waiting for the swap that doesn't seem to be coming.
Happening, James.
No, I'm sitting back thinking, actually, no, that's not actually helping here as well.
Trying to give ourselves the leeway of saying that it should happen so we look like we're smart, and they're just not doing it. They're just like, no, it's fine, you can have it. I'll follow you for a bit. So possibly if his teammate, he may not let him past, or he may not let him keep it. You know, he might be saying, hey, let me go back there. You got the illegal overtake done, but it's... I don't know. I mean, we're coming up to halfway of this race. It feels like we're getting to a point now where maybe they've been pushing too hard too early. Tires starting to go off a little bit. Tires are made to go for an hour. The cars are made to run an hour stint. So the tires shouldn't be going off, but are they pushing too hard? Are their setups too sprint format and it's really just burning way too much rubber? It's a tough task. I mean, field started to spread out. Closest battle on track is Mikulajczyk, Kinsbury, and Cosgrove. Everyone else is spread out either due to mistakes of their own, getting caught up in incidents, or just the pace discrepancy across the whole field. I mean, Flores, he's been the story of this race thus far. Started at the back, has moved all the way up to P11. He's done incredibly, incredibly well to do that. And this battle with Kingsbury, Mikulajczyk, and Cosgrove, these guys just seem to be starting to heat up.
Yeah, I'm a little bit... The thing is for Flores there, I feel a little bit worried about the fact that obviously there's already been a couple of, we don't want to say punt to pass scenarios, but there was also not much held on the brake pedal when obviously Stoltz went round again. So, I'm wondering whether or not there's some form of influx of penalty that might be coming his way for Flores, because he was involved in something in race 1.
That might also actually answer our question of why he started from pit lane. He might have actually had a pit lane start penalty for the contact in race 1.
It depends if RC's grabbed hold of him quick enough, I suppose. Yeah. And then again, I suppose they had 10 minutes to go and get hold of him and say, yeah, you're not getting away with that one, son. get in the pit lane. But there's also going to be a situation here that you can see Mikolajczyk and Kingsbury running side by side. If they chance this through El Rouge, which they're not, because Kingsbury's sitting in right behind him. However, he's going to try and put him off here. We've seen how this works. Yeah, it did work. It did. Just now, Crosscove's going to come in. Crosscove's got Mikolajczyk all at the same time. These guys, that's it. Kingsbury and Crosscove got through on Mikolajczyk. Now he's going up the inside. Crosscove's had enough. He said, right, I'm done now, boys. I'm sick of following. I'm going for it. And he has. He's just got a 2-for-1 special. Almost being like you're in your local Walmart on that one. And just grab 2 for the price of 1. Crosscove's gone through. Kingsbury, Mikolajczyk down positions. Mikolajczyk lost 2 spaces. Oh, and then he goes and gets it wrong. Oh. He does the hard work and falls at the final hurdle.
I know, he's gotten the double-double from Hortons and he's dropped it out the door, has Cosgrove on that one. Nice little Canadian reference for you there as well.
Oh, dearie me. He's going to have to go again here, isn't he, really, as they go off.
Get your loonies and toonies sorted, hand them to the cashier and get that order in, son, because Cosgrove is going to have to fight this now. There may be some team tactics here where Kingsbury starts to back Mikolajczyk up, possibly through Rouge and Radion. They're going to have to be on song here and just, firing on all cylinders to get this move done if they are going to work together. Of course, if Kingsbury just starts to walk away with it, and Crosgoes is saying, "Hey, why haven't you taken me with? Why haven't you taken me with you?" So, I was going to say it's too early in the day for them to be making moves like that at Radion, but it's midday, so it's not too early in the day for that. Might be too early for you, James, but that really ended in disaster.
Yeah, it did. It did nearly end, but they sorted it out, which was all good as well. Yeah. Olivia, now is that Olivier Guadalupe or Olivier?
I would say Olivier.
Yeah. Olivier in YouTube chat. It's cool, he says. I'm going to have to translate that one. Dylan Hunter's been off the side of the circuit, unfortunately, for Dylan here in that Mustang. He's having a bit of a rough time. Is this another curb incident on the outside?
Another vintage Mustang, it seems. Just the rear end going around.
And Dylan, unfortunately, they're doing it as well. So that's 2 for Dylan now. He's had 2 spins that we picked up on. Cosgrove now is going to be what Mikolajczyk's going to be doing here as we go inside. Again, that McLaren, is he going to be able to get the pace? Is he going to be able to get the job done? It looks like he is. Is Kingsbury going to send it up on the inside going into Lukumi? He is. It's now all about who's going to be big and brave round now. Kingsbury's looking at getting it side by side through Malmedy. Kingsbury in the Porsche on the right, in the yellow and black. Then, they're going to go.
Make it 3 wide.
No, I thought Cosgrove was going to. The McLaren's still hanging out. He's leaning on the Porsche as much as he physically can. In through No Name. The McLaren comes out on top. I thought Cosgrove was going 3 wide there, Hamish. Then I was expecting major disaster.
Yeah, hats off to him. He made the smart move of backing out of it. What this is now doing, though, because these guys are battling so back and forth, it has started to rubber band Kevin Fanning onto the back of this battle. So all of a sudden, we've gone from a triple threat contest to a fatal 4-way up the inside. No, he backs out of it again. He's putting all sorts of pressure over Mikolajczyk. Kingsbury manages to get through there as well. Oh, this is turning into a phenomenal battle. It's all for P4 on the road. These guys separated by just over a second between all 4 of them. And we're at the halfway point of this race, James. The first half has gone like this. The second half could be absolute fireworks. I mean, these guys are having an incredible battle.
4 guys fighting it out. Kingsbury, Mikolajczyk, Cosgrove and Fanning. Fanning's brought himself into this one as well. Olivier, can I ask you to put it in English there, son? I ain't got time to translate that one.
I've got Translate open, James, so I'll quickly translate it for us.
All right, well, you do that one there as well. Right, here we go now. Megalite, Kingsbury side by side. Crossgrove's in there as well. He's looking for a way through on the way down into La Source. Is he going to be able to make it through? Megalite's going to run the outside. Be careful not to get pushed off by Crossgrove there. It's spun him round.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's put him in. He's spun him.
You just had a feeling, James, it was going to blow up, didn't you? These guys have been creating absolute sparks across the last couple of laps. And the gasoline's been laid, and it's all just gone up in flames for them. I mean, they have been going at it lap after lap. Replay for you now at turn 1 at La Source. So he tried to just sneak it up the inside, and he just moved over to the left on him. So there may be some RC explanation to be done there for Cody Cosgrove, who could very well see a penalty coming this way. Just so you know, from the translate there, James, Allez Rom, Lacherienne. Go Rom, don't give up. So Olivier is a French watcher. So thank you for watching us, Olivier, and bienvenue as what would be their Quebec French way of saying it, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure what the official French way of saying it is for welcome.
No idea. On that one.
You're
I don't know.
the channel, James. Surely you know French.
No, dude, come on. Just because I'm across the channel and I can get to them via the channel, it doesn't mean that I speak their language, unfortunately. I know bonjour, au revoir, and that is about it.
Bonjour, Olivier, in the chat. So thank you for watching.
There you go. That is our effort, Olivier, on that one. Let's see where we're going to be at in the spaces of AMs and pros. Gonzalo's out in front with Nasir sitting in second. Kind of thought there would have been a swap back on positions there after the overtake took place off the side of the circuit, but I guess these guys had a different thought to we did. Quint is leading the AMs by 6.2 seconds. Mofta's managed to get his way back up into, where is it at the moment, 12th. Minus 11 from where he started, of course, after we saw him blatantly get a slowdown and not being able to get it off quick enough. So unfortunately, that's what dropped Mofta down. You can see he's down 11, Ratu down 7. So two guys trying to make their ways back up here as well. Not going to be any pit stops. 19 minutes to go. So these guys are now just a straight sprint. And Flores, I don't want to say he's going to have to be a little bit careful, but he is going to need to be a little bit more cautious on how he goes about on that one as well. Hello, I am Romain's father. Hello, Romain's father there as well.
Yeah, that's who Olivier is, his father. That answers the question for us.
There you go. Makes it easier.
One reason that Gonzalez may not have actually given up the position to Nasir, so he might also be thinking about the fact of round win as well. Reynolds is P3 on the road. If Reynolds were to get past Gonzalez, he would win the round. So Gonzalez needs to, think about that, because even on countback, this race is worth more points. So if Reynolds were to win and Gonzalez were to finish P2, they would tie on points, but Reynolds would get the round win. So that's what Nasir is probably doing right now. He's being that buffer, making sure that Gonzalez does guarantee himself the round win and gets himself the double in round 1, which is a great way to start your championship as well. It's the best way you can do it. Ironically, another series that I call, no one's ever won the championship after winning in round 1. So we'll see if that curse is going to be the same for Simcar as well, as we see Fanning all over the back of Kingsbury at the moment. So Mikolajczyk hasn't ended up so bad off that spin. He's back in P8, but Kingsbury's teammate Cosgrove, I think we can agree, will have some answering to do for. I mean, he'll have some answering to do for, because he has just turned him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there wasn't a question of that one. He drifted left, hit the bumper, and that was it. The problem is there was nowhere else on the outside there whatsoever where Mikolajczyk could have gone. He was far left as he possibly could go there. So, and there was the whole right side of the circuit for Cosgrove to get the job done, and he didn't. So, Mofta second in the AMs, chasing down on Sun. Flores just in front of us there as well. We go on board with Son. There you go. There is Flores. Here comes that Corvette of Mofta. You just seen him in the bottom corner. Well, oh, he's hit him.
Oh my God. taking all sorts of liberties through the final chicane. Did Mofta. We see this here. He's going to send it up the outside of Son. Oh, and he moved over on the braking. So, because he's moved over to take his line, Mofta hasn't anticipated that he's moving over, and his braking wouldn't have been, his braking is going to end up his car there. So, I mean, if there was an incident out of that, I think that's more or less a racing incident. Oh, too wide still. I mean, say what you will about the rules of overlap. It is creating some phenomenal racing, but some very respectful racing, James. It's forcing respectful racing because drivers are able to go too wide through corners. They're not moving over on each other too much. Yes, there's been a couple of moments on corner exit, but mid-corner, it's been absolutely cracking racing thus far.
Yeah, it definitely has. You can see Kingsbury and Fanning now have dropped Cosgrove off. He's about 3.5 seconds back at the moment. To be fair, that actually looks a lot bigger gap than 3.5 seconds. I'm not going to lie. It looks a lot longer than that, but there we go. And now these guys are battling away. The problem is while they're battling, it could also bring Cosgrove back into this scenario. So there's a plus and a minus out of this. Great that they're battling. Cosgrove could end up coming in as well and playing that third wheel as we go inside the last 15 minutes here. Don't forget the point system. We didn't really touch on that at the beginning. It's 30 points for a win in the sprint with 27, 25, 23, 21 and down in increments of 1 after they get to 19. So in 6th, and then it's 18, 17, 16. In the feature, it's 60 points for the win, but the gap between first and second is 6 points. Fanning's going to go and look up the inside into the bus stop. Kingsbury's going to hold the inside on the exit. Now that problem is Fanning can't get the power down early enough, and Kingsbury does go back through on that position. 54 for second, 50, 46, 42, 48, 36, 34, 32, 30 down in increments of 2, all the way down to 24th place here as well. So there's a good mix of points there as well. Some championships, Hamish has like 60 points for the win and 59 points for second, and then the top two are swapping places and never really breaking away. But having them gaps between first and second opens it up that we could potentially, the lead or the winner is going to have a nice little gap come the end of round 1.
Also, Gonçalves, he would have a 9-point lead in the championship if Reynolds were to finish P2. With Reynolds in P3 at the moment, that then stacks up to 13 points difference between Gonçalves and Reynolds. Being that Nasir didn't finish on the podium in the last race, it would be Gonçalves and Reynolds as the top two in the championship. One thing I do want to mention, though, you mentioned Fanning and Kingsbury rubber banding Cosgrove up to the back of them. Maybe that's what Kingsbury wants. He wants his teammate on the back of Fanning with him. Still get that, that 1-on-2 scenario. Could pay off for both of them, and it manages to allow Cosgrove to have an opportunity to get back up into the top 5 with his teammate. And having 3 Solpec cars in the top 5 for them is great for the team's championship. As I've just noticed, Reynolds and Nasir are battling it out at the moment for P2 on the road, James. So it is all on for young and old. Reynolds gets it done round the outside of Nasir. And what a move it was. He's done the opposite of what he did on Gonçalves in race 1. This time he had the inside to outside line instead of the outside to inside and just tucks it round. So there's definitely been, it seems, some setup adjustments from Reynolds between races to get this thing a little bit more stable offline through corners.
And he's got a little bit more pace as well in that car. 158, 159. Is it going to be any further? No, it's exactly 159. He's just touched there as well. So whatever Reynolds has done during that warm-up, he must have known that the car wasn't running right during the sprint. He just had no speed, did he? He couldn't get anywhere near Gonzalez up in front of him. So, it's interesting that he's gone and done that. But then that's what good sim racers would do in an open setup race where you know that you're slow. So you haven't got the top end, I should say, not slow, because that's a bit detrimental. But he's not slow, but he didn't have the top end speed of the car. Changed the setup. Now he's got the pace. Now he's pulling away from Nasir as well. He doesn't seem to have any answer to the Corvette in front from his McLaren. And it looks like now that hopefully for Reynolds, he might finally have some pace in that car.
Well,
he's not. He's still 3 seconds slower.
Yeah, he is. He's actually lost about 0.3 of a second through the first sector on Gonçalves. So he actually has lost a bit of time ever since he made the move on Nasir. So he's still, I mean, he has the corner speed, but he struggles down the Camel Straight, it seems. I mean, look at that this last sector one. Gonçalves has gone fastest for the whole race, 38.897. Reynolds was a 10th or nearly 2/10 slower. Nasir only 0.04 of a second slower than his teammate through sector one.
Oh, Dylan Hunter.
He's up on him.
Hunter's got off again. I don't want to compound that young man's misery, but I think he's just unfortunately having a bit of a rough time in that Mustang there. Reynolds is quicker over sectors 2. Nasir is slower, so we'll keep an eye on the sectors for the rest of this lap, of course. Sector 3 is literally just round this corner. There it is, 29.0. Reynolds quicker, Nasir slower. So again, Reynolds is closing in, and again, I think you might be right, Hamish. I think he's done something during the warm-up, changed something to then be able to get that Corvette. 1, top end, maybe. 2, seems to be a little bit more stable than he had before.
So what I think kept him in the battle with Gonçalves' last race, right up behind him, was he was not up to pace down the straights, but he was faster through the kind of middle portion of the circuit because of how many corners there are. So Reynolds here, he's faster through corners than what Gonçalves is, because Gonçalves is running that lower wing setting, of course. But Reynolds is making up the time through that midsection of the track and even towards the last sector as well. In fact, Reynolds is just at the fast lap of the race, 2:18.536. So he is starting to push through that last sector, trying to get the most out of his tyres at this point. What he needs to think about, though, is you cannot burn those tyres out too much. They're going to get to a stage where they are going to start to drop off. And if Gonçalves is saving those tyres, he's going to be in the better position come the end of this race. So he's not catching him down the straight. He's not catching him in sector 1. Gonçalves is still faster than him in sector 1, but he's catching him through the tighter sections of 2, 3, 4, and then towards the end of the lap as well. Although he has gone faster than him this lap. So he's found some pace. He has found some pace as Reynolds. I think the setup may have actually helped him here, but the test will be, can he get past Gonçalves on this lap? Not on this lap, towards the end of this race if he gets up to the back of him.
I don't think he's going to get there. And I'm not pessimistic on it as well. And now I'm supposed to be sitting here being optimistic about it. But honestly, I think Gonçalves is just basically managing the 2.5 second gap that he has got. Yeah. And he's wiping out the sectors that Reynolds is quicker. And I think at the moment, Reynolds has just got to try and put him under pressure. Somehow give him an imaginary, oh my God, I'm coming kind of scenario, and try and make him make a mistake. But at the moment, Gonçalves is just not making that mistake. I don't think he's going to make it either.
No, he's cruising. He's cruising through that middle part of the track, not using up those tyres too much. I mean, they'll be screaming at this point. You're past the halfway point of what would be a regular stint. This is where the tyres start to go off. They then come back for a couple of minutes towards that 40 to 45 minute mark. So we will see some pace come up from these cars as the tyres get back up and they drop temp a little bit. But the problem for Reynolds is he can catch him, but he struggled to pass him in race 1. He got past him once and then lost it immediately on the next lap. So he has to be smart about this. If he's going to try and get past Gonçalves, he needs to make sure it's on the last lap of the race. He cannot give him a lap to have an opportunity to get back past him. So the game plan for Reynolds is get to him as soon as you can, apply the pressure, but just hang out behind him. Don't go for it just yet. Wait for the final lap. That's when you make your move. You know, you get your tyres back down to temp, you save the tyres a little bit, and then you full push across the last lap because you're faster than him in the tighter sections. As Flores, he's had a moment
been up to he's had a problem with Mofta, I think, and I'm wondering whether or not. Nope. That was Porsche doing Porsche things.
That was classic Porsche doing Porsche things. And then he got a bit of sprinkles put over the top of it as well, off the back of it. So, unfortunately there for Flores, that's race done for him. Any hope of getting to the top 10? There's Fanning trying to set up a move down the inside of Kingsbury at Lacombe. Cannot quite get there. Has to get out of it. and has to set up and
I
reload
don't
for
think-
another assault.
I don't think he had a choice.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
No, I don't think he had a choice. I think Kingsbury was coming straight across his nose regardless on that one, and that's the thing. And it's just that was the thing for Fanning is if he just got up a little bit, there would have been the overlap that he needs to get the move done. But Kingsbury didn't seem to almost care. And he just swept straight across him and was like,
oh, there's a Corvette there. Oh, he'll move. He'll get out of my way.
Exactly. He'll get on the brakes, which is what he did do. So on that one, they just pass Joshua there, succeed on the back marker. But that is poor old Joshua, a little bit of a rough time here. We've seen that Mustang do that quite often this evening, and normally at the hands
trying to do his
of
best
Dylan Hunter.
Tuscany impression from Initial D, it seems, but unfortunately ending up in the wall instead of powering out of the corner.
Yeah, here is your son Olivier running in behind Brian's son in 11th and 12th. This is a battle for 9th and 10th in class. They've come very close together. Last time out, Roman Ratu there, 2:19.16. And Brian's son at 2:20.1. So he was about 8 tenths slower on that one. So Roman putting him under pressure there as well. And he was 1.7 seconds.
Can we check the math? I'm looking at it. I think you just read the best laps, James. The last lap.
I did.
Was a 2:21.
Yes.
And Retro was a 2:19. So he's actually gone about 1.3 seconds faster on that last lap.
He's done now.
I think Sun's let him have it on that one there. He saw him going for it. He's like, you've got more pace on. Just go through at this point. So
maybe.
I mean, Roman has a 3.9 KI rating. Sons is 2.2. He probably knows that. He probably said, yeah, you're a bit better than me. You got on the podium last race. You can just go past. Not willing to, give up 2 points just to battle you for this spot. He's willing to just, parlay and just accept P3 in class parlay, yeah.
Pirates here on Spar. Party line. Listen to you. Oh,
I'm a lover, I must say. So back to the battle there with Kingsbury and Fanning. These guys have been going at it for probably about the last 8 laps or so, it feels like, James. And we've got 4 minutes to go. Arguably, I want to say 3 laps left, depending on where the leader is.
No,
maybe 2 laps left. Yeah, they're only coming up towards the final sector now. So probably about 2 laps to go in this race. 2 laps for Charles to survive to Reynolds. The gap is now down to a second in the battle for the lead, but this is the closest battle on track. 0.3 of a second just about between Kingsbury and Fanning, and they've been hanging out this whole race. You have to imagine Fanning, he has the strategy we spoke about. Wait till the last lap and then put your assault on, because Kingsbury is racing aggressive. He's trying to put pressure on him, but he is racing and defending aggressively. Can Fanning take advantage of that and force a mistake?
Well, he's got to try something, isn't he? Let's be real. We've seen how the Porsche's been handling. Flores has already had it go round on him as well. A couple of others in the Porsche. Kevin Bogart has also been round in that car as well. Fanning's not going to wait. He's not going to wait. He's going to go up the bus stop. He's now demanding the inside. He wants some space. He's got the space. Is he going to be able to get the power down? Both of these cars struggle if you go and slam the throttle on them, but it is going to be a side-by-side run down into La Source. You've got Fanning on the left in the blue and white. So the Kingsbury and the Solpec Precision Racing livery are in that Porsche now. It's going to be Fanning. Has he just done that too early? Is he now going to get a car come straight back at him again?
Well, he's got 2.5 minutes, 2 laps to try and defend this position now. You have to imagine Kingsbury's going to try and get it back. He's trying to find a pathway at the moment. I do apologise. Trying to find a pathway at the moment past Fanning. He held him back for around about 8 laps or so. He's lost position. Fanning covers the inside of Lacombe. He manages to hold position at the moment. Kingsbury cannot find the switchback right now. Has to settle in and wait for another opportunity to try and get it past the Corvette.
I just don't know where he's going to... He's not going to get that over this next half. I can tell you that, unless Kingsbury does something that we've never seen from a Porsche driver. But He's going to have to just sit there and wait. I don't think he's going to get him going down into Pouon. You see the Corvette opens up that bit of a gap, but then again, both men are on the gravel. Not an ideal scenario. Coming into Pouon now, Fanning still in the front in that Corvette. Kingsbury tucked in behind him in the Porsche. And at the moment, as they head down into Lafayette, it's not happening here at all. I can tell you what is happening is Reynolds and Gonzalez's gap up the front down to half a second now as well. So that is another battle that we're going to keep an eye on, as these guys are going to start the final lap. And there's a back marker up the field in front of us just to top it off. That's Dylan Hunter in the Mustang, and we've seen how unsturdy the Mustang has been here. So now for Gonzalez, he's going to have a fight on his last lap.
Well, it's all pressure on Michael Gonzalez from Blake Reynolds. Final lap of the race. White flag is out for Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. They've got lap traffic to deal with. You would hope that Hunter's not going to have a part to play in this, and he'll move over and let them go. Reynolds now right under the rear wing of Michael Gonzalez. 0.2 of a second is the gap. Does he go for it at Lacombe, or does he wait for where he got it done in race one? Further round the piece as they come onto the Kemmel Straight now. Toe in hand for Blake Reynolds. He's done the setup changes between race one and race two. Does he have the advantage over Michael Gonzalez? He's going to wait, it seems, and not go for it at Lacombe just yet, James, and going to play the patient game, but he has to make a move if he wants to get this done on the final lap.
Yeah, it's going to be the question of sectors for Gonzalez there. He's got to be basically quicker in every single one, and at the moment it looks like Reynolds has got the bit between his teeth. They're going to be coming around completing sector 2 very, very shortly. Gonzalez there is a little bit slidey in that McLaren. He's trying to hold him off. He's left the car's whip coming into Pouon. Gonzalez is going to go round the right. They hit each other.
They're both gone.
Oh no, he's in the wall.
God. And Nasir comes through. You'd have to think Gonzalez, he didn't, the overlap was there, so that's on Gonzalez. He for sure would have a penalty coming his way.
Oh, he squeezed him.
Yep.
He squeezed him, but there's another problem as well. All of that was going on, and then Kingsbury has done this at exactly the same time. Yeah, in the Porsche. What did he do?
I don't know if it's for you, but mine was having an absolute seizure when it was trying to figure out where we were on track. But Gonzalez will lead them across the line to take the win in race 2. His teammate Justin Nasir in P2 on the road. Right in the final corner, Michael Gonzalez wins race 2 of GT3s for Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, but he will have, I am going to confidently say he will have a penalty coming his way there, James, and more than likely, you'd have to think it would have to be maybe a tier 2 penalty, which would be 2 championship points and 2 safety points. So it just cuts down on his championship lead a little bit over Reynolds.
Yeah, you see Quint's come over the line, taking a win in the arms there for Carson Quint. 2 podiums out of 2. Mofta is in second place. He's another man that's got 2 podiums. And in third place will be Kevin Bogart, the man who's been on A racing for over a year, flashing his lights there. Hey, Mum, I'm on TV. Check me out. I'm in third, but you are in a Porsche. Please just get round the last couple of corners because, well, you're in a Porsche and you're just in a Porsche. So just make sure you can get through here as well, please. And now you can flash your lights and celebrate because even you can't not drive in a straight line, Mr. Bogart, as he comes over the line and wraps up third place in the AMS as well. This, I think you could safely say, is the defining moment. The overlap was there. He
Came across like he wasn't there.
Yeah, Reynolds could not go any further. Yeah,
That's
because he was up on the curb. That was the problem for Reynolds.
He had the rights to the corner. He had the overlap we mentioned. Any overlap gives you rights to the inside or to your line on the corner. They cannot move over on you. I'm confidently, based on how the rules are written, Concharles should be getting a penalty for that. Whether it's a tier 2 or a tier 3, I'm not sure, or even a tier 1. But it's just a little bit of controversy ending the race, which I do appreciate some controversy in racing, James. Put some spice into it for us, doesn't it? It makes it interesting. I mean, Concharles, he's won the round, he's won both races. But if he loses a point, 2 points, 3 points, suddenly the gap's not quite as big. It would have been 13. If he gets a penalty, it's either going to be 12, 11, or 10, depending on which one he gets.
I'm just reading. I think we might be looking here because they do have separate tiers of penalties.
It might be a tier 1.
Well, it could well be. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking here as well. Let's bring you up the results of the feature race. And we'll go and get, hopefully have a couple of chats with some drivers. Michael Gonzalez is in first place. Justin Nasir in second. And Blake Reynolds in third. It'll be interesting to see Blake's response. He has just jumped into the interview room, so we'll have a chat with him in a minute. Kevin Fanning in fourth. Ray Kingsbury sitting in fifth there. Him and Fanning had contact on the source. Kingsbury did stop and allow Fanning to take that place. Cody Crosgrove down in sixth. Carsten Quint wraps up the AMs. That's a great win for Carsten there. Paul Mikolajczyk in 8th. Tim Bruckhow in 9th. Didn't really see much of them two during race number 2. Marwin Mofta takes his second podium of the evening, finishing in second in the AMs. Then Roman Ratu and Brian Son in 11th and 12th. Kevin Bogart grabs a podium as well. He rounds out third in the AMs. Jeff Stoltz, Jeff Johnson, Anthony Flores could be in a little bit of danger of penalties. Dylan Hunter in 17th, Joshua Suxi in 18th place there. And then a couple of places back, Jason Lynn is in 19th, and Matt Kingsbury did not start there as well. Interesting. Carson Quint's situation for fuel in race number 1. Nope, I made a calculation mistake there. I was going to miss the race and made it at last minute. 1 more litre and it all would have been good. So, yeah, Carson's race 1 was fuel related. Hamish on that one. Right, let's bring Mr. Reynolds in to the booth here. Finishes third in race number 2, second in race number 1. But it ain't quite without controversy. So let's have a chat with Mr. Reynolds here as well. Blake, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Good. How are y'all?
I'm all right, mate. I've just watched an interesting race. I've just watched you take a second in race 1. How was race 1 first? Let's have a chat about that.
That was fun. This Corvette, this is my first time actually driving the car. I practiced a little bit yesterday, but I've been racing the Porsche. My teammates are in the Porsche, and I just was not really interested. So chose the Corvette, never raced it. Got a little bit of an Apex setup, made some adjustments, a little diff, a little tire pressure, you know how it goes. And wow, it's pretty good. So I'm racing there, and Gonzo's a good buddy of mine. So I knew they'd be quick. The McLaren is proper quick right now. The BOP is in its favor, let me tell you. But had a really good battle, really good. And then yeah, I mean, I passed that sprint race, right? And then he got me right back. I could maybe get half a car length in his draft. He got 6 in mine. So I love when that happens, but it's just how it is, man. And different cars, they drive differently. It's fun. And then got to the feature race. I had to do that avoidance there on Marwin at the start of that feature, and I evaded off to the left in the gravel in the exit of Lacombe. And then I spent the whole race running down those McLarens. I got Lance, and then got to Gonzo, and fortunately, I don't think Gonzo left me a whole lot of room there in Pouon. I was there, the overlap rules. I just think when he went to arc out, I held my line. He went to arc out, and I think he was just used to his racing line. He didn't want to get in the marbles, so it is what it is. I still managed third. Car wasn't too damaged. Lance got by, but honestly, I'm not all that upset. I mean, he's a friend of mine, so it's kind of like a Lando Max situation, honestly.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair enough then, because yes, we do agree with you. Basically, Michael, come across your nose. You were up on the curb. There was really nowhere else for you to go on that one. So, let's see what comes of it and see if anything comes of it as well. Coming into this season, defending champion from last season, can you make it 2 in a row? Do you think you could defend that championship?
I like to hope so. Typically in the past, I've missed a round or 2 here and there. So I knew the championship was coming. Last season, I put it all together. So, yeah, we got that done and out of the way. Championship under the belt. Now this season, new car, new perspective. That's kind of my MO. So I'm just figuring out this car. Interesting schedule, a little different this season.
It's got a mix of everything on that schedule.
Yeah, a little different. A little Zandvoorts, Le Mans, Sandown will be interesting. Road America, Le Mans, Road Atlanta. They're kind of staples in the schedule. Spa here too. Red Bull Ring. We've raced it before, and same with Barber, but should be a fun race for fun season rather. It should be good.
Absolutely. Well, Blake, thank you so much for joining us there, buddy. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Sure thing. Solpec Precision Racing, the beautiful paint on my car done by Jeff Evans. Abruzzi, Solpec, of course. Y'all for broadcasting. Yeah, I watched the clip of the heat at the end. That was really good. Good job on that, you two. And then Penguin RC for sponsoring Simcar, Too Fast Racing, yada yada, whatever. I think that's everybody.
Awesome job. Man, well, take care, Blake. Look forward to seeing you in the next round.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries. Before we get to Michael on that one, I'm going to have a chat with our Race 2 winner, one Mr. Carsten Quinn. Could have made it 2 out of 2. But I believe there might have been a slight bit of mishap with the calculator in race number 1. Carsten, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing very well, mate. Tell us about race 1 first off. We thought it was fuel related. You went over on fumes. What happened?
Yeah, I really wasn't expecting to be racing today, and I had other commitments today, but they kind of fell through. So I jumped on last minute, and I didn't have any of my setups ready to go with fuel and stuff, and I just miscalculated by a liter or 2 there. It looked like it was going to be okay, and then I burned a little bit too much fuel in the last couple laps and ran out going to the final chicane there.
And then didn't make it over the line.
No, I did make it, but
Just barely, sorry.
got passed by about 6 or 7 guys.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That was the thing as well, because you lost the lead, you lost the win in the AMs there. But the problem is that win in the AMs put you about 11 places back from Marwan as well, because you lost the pole position from the top 8 reverse.
Yeah. Well, it turned out right.
It was a big kick in the teeth, Carsten, wasn't it, basically? It was an absolute kick in the teeth on that one.
Yeah.
Listen, though, you're going into race 2. Marwan's far ahead of you as well. Unfortunately for Marwan, it was a master of his own downfall. Got to slow down at the top of the hill, didn't take it off properly. Next, he hit the brakes in Lacombe, got punted after trying to take his slow down off. You've come through, you've taken the victory as well. Does it kind of give you that bit of sweet taste to think, all right, forget race 1, I've just won race 2?
Oh, for sure it does. Race 2 was interesting too. There, I was behind was it Jeff and Josh for a while, and they kind of got together going to that chicane there, and then I just managed to avoid them going around them, and then after that I was just on my own for a while there and just tried to keep going, and I had no idea that I was leading the AM at that point, but pretty happy with that.
Yeah, you did a stunning job. You come through the fields, gained 4 places from where the 11th you started, and you've taken the win. So all in all, you can't really sit back and think it's not been a good night. Yeah, you got 3rd in race 1. You scored 2 podiums out of 2. Not a bad start to the season. It's looking like the AM fight could be a little bit tasty this season. I think it's going to be who makes the least mistakes from the AMs that could wrap up the championship. Is consistency going to be the key, do you think, over this season?
Oh, for sure it is. I mean, I don't have the greatest pace, and just being consistent definitely helps with that. And yeah, I kept it clean this second race for sure. So didn't make the mistakes that the other guys did. We'll
Away
see.
with a victory. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, exactly. So, anyone you want to shout out there as well, Carsten, before we let you go, bud?
Yeah, just all my teammates over at Solpac Precision Racing. They're awesome. They've been helping me out quite a bit, and it's definitely showing. I've come quite a ways in the last year, I think. So they've been awesome.
Yeah, awesome job as well. Carsten, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy. And look forward to seeing you in round number 2, where we head to Zandvoort.
Sounds good. We'll see you then.
Take care, man. Right, and then we're going to jump into the second place man in race number 2. Let's have a chat about race number 1 first. Justin is in. Justin, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well. Thank you very much on that one. Okay, let's have a chat about.
It's Justin.
Yeah, you're very perky, Justin, to be blatantly honest.
Yeah.
Well done there, dear sir. Let's have a chat about race 1. How? Give us your thoughts on race 1.
Race 1, not my best effort. Kind of lost track of where the corner was at the end of the straight. Missed it. Ended up kind of spinning myself out. And that was probably the best thing for my race too, because I ended up I had enough pace to just drive back up and get to at least 8th. And you know, circumstances happened. I finished 7th. I got on the front row, and that put me in a good spot for the actual feature race. So
yeah, it did. It did work out in the end for you there as well. Going into race 2, you got Gonzalez around you, Reynolds is all around you as well. Did you think you could come away with a podium out of that one? Because there's some quick guys in and around you.
Yeah, I was going into the race, I was like, if I can get the lead and get out into clean air, a podium's definitely on. And that's what happened. I made it happen on the first lap. I got into the lead, and I was able to get up the road enough where I got caught by the 2 behind me, but nobody else was going to catch me.
Yeah, I think that was the thing. You've come away with a podium as well. Favorite track on the calendar? What do you reckon?
That's tough. I do actually quite like Spa. Spa's a very good track. Upcoming, I'm interested to see Sandown, actually. I've never driven a GT car there, so I'm interested to see how that goes.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye out for you on that one, Justin, there as well. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go, bud?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Brian Son for bringing me back on at Penguin RC. You know, it's I kind of ran by myself last season, and this season they brought me back on, and I'd like to thank him for just bringing me back on.
Awesome stuff. Well, Justin, thanks so much for that one. Well done on your second place, sorry, I should say, race number 2, and look forward to seeing you next week. Or in a couple of weeks, actually, 17th. Take care, bub.
You too.
Right, now we're going to have a chat with the man that has wrapped up 2 wins out of 2. Held Reynolds back, lost a place once, got it back again straight after in race 1. Race 2, not without its controversies for the win for Michael Gonzalez there. Michael, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for asking, dear sir. Race 1, let's have a chat about it as well. You're out in front. Reynolds is tucked in behind you. Did you always think you had the pace? Because he didn't really look like he had the speed in that vet to try and get round you.
He definitely did. I mean, the Macca was just falling off on both races. About the halfway point, it was just gone. The handling never changed, but the tires, like basically going through poo on, the best I could explain it was at every single lap, I had to wait on throttle a split second longer. So I was just throwing away 2 or 3 tenths. He was so much faster through the last half of that lap. I mean, it was just anything. There was really nothing I could even do to really hold him off.
Yeah, he just didn't seem to be having the speed, though. That was what I found in race number 1. And I don't know if he did anything during the warm-up, but he seemed to get quicker and quicker as race 2 went on. Obviously, he was coming in, attacking you. Give us your thoughts on the incident at Pouon. Did you not see him? Did you misjudge the gap?
No, so I mean, I knew I had to give him from white line to my left side a car width, and I gave him that. Looking back on it, unfortunately, when his left rear tire and the whole left side of his car popped up onto that curb, there was like about a foot of neck code that took place between the left rear and the right front. I just think it was just a server just thinking he was going to hop off of it, but his car didn't. That's just kind of what it was. It just hooked us both around, but I had to give him a car width.
Yep.
Nothing more, nothing less. If I gave him anything more than a car width, he was going to be probably a second clear out of Pouon. I mean, I had 0 drive. We could hit the throttle at the same time, but his car was just more gripped up. So I had to give him exactly what was needed to hold him off. And unfortunately, the servers just didn't quite play in how it was supposed to. But I mean, all in all, it was still a fun, enjoyable race. We showed that we can race clean in the heat, touch some corners of the car, beat and bang, but it was, it was clean. And that's, of course, all that we're aiming for in any race that we end up doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree on that one. Final question for me. What's the chance of you taking the championship away from Blake?
We'll see. It's not looking so good. It's 2 wins, but if he's out in front at all in that vet, it seems like things a little bit better than what the old McLaren's got, but we will see. We will see. I know this is a new car, so Penguin RC has kind of worked hard on getting the setup in this thing. It's gotten faster than what it was originally. It's definitely felt faster in the final race than it did in the heat. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Season's young. We'll see if the Baca can hold on to the old vet pace of Blake Reynolds.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's going to be an interesting one there, dear sir, as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
So thank you guys for doing this broadcast. Great to have you along. Everybody over at Simcar, of course, for hosting this league. It's a fun league to be part of. And then Brian Song, Penguin RC, great group of guys, great little appliances he's got going on for the sim racing. So happy to just be here and happy to have fun.
Okay, man, no worries at all. Well, you take care, buddy, and look forward to seeing you on October 17th for Zambot.
For sure. We'll see you there. Have a good one.
Well, there you go, Hamish. I think that kind of sums it up. I didn't really see the internet doing internet things on that contact, but look, we only looked at it briefly from one angle. We didn't really get close enough into the car to see it all, of course, but both of them seemed quite happy about it. They seemed quite relaxed.
Well, I mean, regardless if there was a net code or not, from the trajectory, the contact was going to happen no matter what, even if there was net code. But yeah, I mean, those guys are friends, of course. So I mean, they'll have a laugh about it. I'm sure Reynolds will get him back at some point this season, give him a little receipt at one of the future races. But I mean, the kind of racing that we saw today at Spa, I mean, very, very typical Spa type of race. A little bit of controversy, a little bit of chaos. Field did spread out a little bit. I mean, 2 weeks' time, Zandvoort, that's going to be intense, hard to pass there. Really got to try and find your opportunities. Very similar to this circuit. I think the first 2 rounds have got very similar types of racing. And we look ahead to Red Bull Ring and Road America. They've got very similar style of racing as well. There's plenty of overtaking opportunities, can lead to some fantastic racing, but also can lead to a lot of mistakes happening as well. So, first 4 rounds across the first sort of month and a bit, we've got some quality tracks coming up, and I'm excited, especially after this race. This was some phenomenal racing, and bring on the rest of the season, because at this point I think it's actually anyone's game. I mean, you look at Nasir, you look at Gonzalez, you look at Reynolds, even some of the other pros. I think any of them on their day could take out the win. It's whoever is going to be the most consistent across the season. And you mentioned the AMs. That's what makes or breaks an AM championship, is whether you are consistent across the season, not just good in 1 or 2 races. You have to be consistently getting points. So It's going to be imperative for those guys to get that consistency level up and push on throughout the rest of this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I do fully agree with you on that one. Thank you very much. If you have joined us as well and been sat here watching the racing, it's been a pleasure to have you along. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the bells. That'll be absolutely amazing as we're going to head off for round 2 now. I'm going to pack my bag. We're not going to fly very far, though, as we're only going to Zandvoort. But I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Hamish Munro. And as always, guys, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.